Hello there. Welcome once more to Contro's Kitchen. And if this is your first time stopping by, I'd like to say a very warm welcome to you. So it's a holiday, Labor Day to be exact, and I have friends coming over. It's my day off. I'm so super excited. And so among the many dishes that I'm gonna make, they requested to have banku and okro soup. We'll have our barbecue and all because it is a holiday, but we also want to have it our way, the Ghanaian way. The best of both worlds. So I hope you enjoyed this okro stew recipe just like you did the other okro stew that I've shared with you. This is gonna be called party okro soup just because it is for a crowd, like a small big crowd. You know what I mean? So next time you are having, quite a number of people and you have to make okro stew, I hope this video is helpful to you. Kindly continue to let your friends know about the channel, and trust me when I say there's more goodness coming your way and you don't want to miss out. So subscribe and hit that notification button so anytime I post a new video, you will be notified, okay? Let's see how this went. Let's see how it went. So for this recipe, you will need some garlic, some star anise, some anise seeds, coriander seeds, fresh ginger root. I'm using 1 Maggi tablet as well. And I have here some blue crab, some goat meat, with some tripe as well. My okra. I normally use fresh okra. I have my jute leaves or malakaya leaves, known in Ghana as ayoyo. And this I was very excited to find. So no spinach today, fresh jute leaves. I have my fresh tomatoes. Some red snapper already cleaned and cut up, palm oil, onions, some shrimp, these are huge shrimp, and some smoked turkey wings. And as always, you could use any meat of choice. You don't necessarily need to use any of these or all of them, just whatever you want to cook your okro stew with. So I start off by putting my goat meat and crab in my saucepan. I've added my star anise, it's 2 of them. I've blended my garlic, ginger, anise seeds, coriander seeds, 2 large onions, and I have added my Maggi tablet, some salt to taste, and now I'm pouring some water over my meat. And this I'm going to let cook, but I'm going to stir first. Make sure that the spices that I blended coats all the meat. Just like this. And now I'm going to cover and let this cook. So whilst that cook, I'm going to focus on the rest of the stew. So I'm going to season my red snapper. I added some salt and some of the blended spices that I just poured onto the meat. And so I'm going to let this marinate for a while, and this I'll put in the stew sometime later. And so now we start our stew off with some palm oil, and I've sliced my shallots. So I had 3 large onions and some shallots. So the shallots is what I'm going to start cooking the stew with. You could just use regular onions as well. And these I'm not going to let cook all the way until they really caramelize, because it really doesn't need to be. The palm oil is already good, and I'm just trying to let the onions cook to add just a little bit of flavor. Caramelization at this point is not necessary. You could do that, but it's absolutely not necessary. So I blended my tomatoes and the other onion and peppers, and now that is what I've poured in here. I rinsed out my blender and added that to this, and I'm going to let this tomato stew cook for a while. This is going to be the base for our okro stew. So I'm going to partially cover this and allow it to cook. Meanwhile, I'll check on my meat, and it's looking good. It's doing good. The goat meat is nowhere near cooked because it is a little bit on the tough side, but this the crab looks perfect. It's not all the way cooked, but the color, like blue crab, it is cooked blue and then it turns obroni. I just always love to just look at that. Anyway, I've added my turkey wings. At this point, these are smoked turkey wings. I normally don't add them from the beginning in my okra stew because it's already partially cooked. And so you always have to remember, like here in the United States, the smoked turkey wings, every one of them that I've bought is salted. So bear that in mind always when you're cooking with it, the amount of salt that you add. So here is my red snapper, and now it's going into my tomato stew so it can get cooked a little bit. Fish doesn't take too much to cook, and so cooking it this way works perfectly. And so will the shrimp. And the shrimp goes in here now, and it's going to cook with the fish. I trimmed the shrimp a little bit. They still have the head on. You could use any kind of shrimp, peeled and deveined or whatever, and trimmed. It's totally up to you how you like it. So I covered it to allow it to cook through, and now I'm going to check on my fish. This has cooked for about 15 minutes already, and I think at this point I'm just going to remove them so they don't fall apart, because I'm going to add the rest of the meat that I'm cooking on the side into the stew, and stirring will make my fish fall apart. So I'm going to put them aside so we continue with the stew. And later on, when the stew is almost done, I'm going to go ahead and add the fish to it. Just look at how beautiful. Real papa bi, real red snapper, any nkruma for you, you know, a kosuye, a kwagasa. Anyway, whilst I'm doing that, I'm just being proactive and going ahead of myself to cut up this onion, and this will go in my stew when it is done. And now I'm going to cut my okra, because I typically like to use fresh okra. Every now and then I'll buy frozen, but I like to cut up my own okra. I feel like it gives you that sliminess. If you want your stew to be slimy, it is perfect. And so I trim off the heads and the tails, and then I just cut. And that is my pet peeve about buying frozen okra anyway. They have the heads and tail in it, and the time that I waste trying to pick the heads and tails out from the package, I feel like I could have just, bought my fresh okra and cut it up. The problem should only be if you can find fresh okra. That is to me anyway. So here we go. I'm going to cut all of these up, and I'll leave about maybe a fifth of the total amount of okra that I have, and that I'm going to go ahead and blend to even bring out some more sliminess in my stew. So my meat is doing good, and at this point I'm going to remove my crabs and transfer into the stew so they cook some more and absorb some of the good flavors of the tomato stew, the base of the okra stew, and allow the goat meat to cook even some more because it is still a little bit on the tough side. That and the smoked turkey. So I'm gonna let these cook by covering them up so they can even cook through some more and absorb all the goodness of this tomato base. And now I think my beef, my meat, my goat meat and smoked turkey is almost also good. And at this point, I'm trying to find these 2-star anise that I put in here to cook the meat with. Because tell you, I always say, remove them because you don't want you or whoever you serve your food to bite into a piece of that. I don't like the taste, and I bet most people wouldn't like to taste it either. All right, so now we've been able to find our 2-star anise, and at this point, I'm going to pour my meat into the stew. And I'm not just pouring the meat, I'm pouring it along with the good stock that it has cooked in to bring even some more good flavor into the stew. Sometimes when I have time, and especially when your meat is fatty, I would recommend that you let it settle, more like cool in your fridge before you add it. And when it cools, the fat will solidify on the surface and you can just peel it off, and then you just use the stock to cook. Anyway, so I allowed the meat to cook in the stew for about 15 minutes, and now I've added my okra to this, and I'm going to let this cook. And I have also blended my okra, like I told you, about a fifth of the total amount of the okra that I was cooking with. And here it is that. And so I'm going to stir and let this cook. Yes, I know the pot is overflowing, but this is party okra stew. My mother's daughter that I am, I like to send my friends or my company home with some leftover or whatever we had, if possible, so they can have it for another meal. Seriously, I wish you were here to taste this stew for yourself. It's not even all the way done yet, but the flavor, no. The flavor is just so big on this stew. You probably just want to eat it even before the banko is cooked. And we're not even done with it yet. Look, it's time to add my jute leaves, and I'm just plucking them from the branches, and I'll cut them up after that. So I'm done pulling them, and here we go. I'm not cutting them into any particular thickness. I'm just cutting through. The goal is to just make, give some more texture to your okra. So just like this, that is all you need. Perfect. And I'm going to pour this into the stew, and it's going to assure us some more sliminess, some texture, some more color, and of course, some more good nutrients. So at this point, I'm just going to try to stir and get the jute leaf to be well incorporated into the okra stew and allow it to cook through a little bit, and we are good to go. So what would you want to have yours with? I told you already, we're having banku, but this will go so well with eba. I know some people could even eat rice with this, like boiled rice. And just look, I allowed this to cook through for about 5 minutes, and that is all it took for the jute leaf to cook so beautifully. And look at our stew. Isn't it just looking amazing? So beautiful, so tasty. It smells divine here. And my friends are here already, and they are making the banku so we can all sit and enjoy. You really need to try this, so you must try this. And look, it's time for me to reintroduce my fish to the stew. It is already beautifully cooked, and now I am just strategically placing them in the okra stew because, considering all these ingredients, the crab, the meat, if I don't place them well, and you're just going to dig through for fish, you're just going to make them all fall apart. So at this point, I am planting my fish in the okra stew. So I know exactly where they are, and it's easy to pick them out. I hope that is a good tip for you. That is what I do. And so I've planted all my fish already. Hopefully it will germinate and I'll have some more fish. Just kidding. And now I've added my sliced onions. And this is just to bring some more crunch. I always love my okra with some fresh onions in it. And so it is in here for that crunchiness and of course for a pop of color. That's why I used red onions. And just like that, our stew is done with all the crunchiness of the onion, and it's time to enjoy this great meal. Well, I wasn't joking when I said party okra stew. Just look at all that banku. Yes. And that is enough for us to all enjoy and take some home with us. Just look. I know you would want to try this. Just look at how good it is. And look, all that excitement about eating this great meal made somebody forget to unwrap her banku. But she cut herself and now it is unwrapped. And here we go, digging for all that goodness in this okra stew just to enjoy and sit and have a great time. And great time we did have. I hope you try this recipe. You will love it. And until I come your way next time with something delicious, be loving, be kind, be happy.